How do you introduce a truck that towed the space shuttle? How do you introduce a truck that drove through wildfires? A truck that's hit 1,000,000 miles and then did it again and again and again? I just don't know how you introduce such a truck.
Well, Jake, I think you could do it something kind of like this. Hi, I'm Colin and we're here with Gas Guzzlers Reviews, and today we're going to be looking at the 2022 Toyota Tundra. Let's get into it. Let's start first with the front of the Tundra, and one way you can tell this is the 1794 edition is some of the extra chrome bits here on the grille, which of course is an all-new redesign for the 2022 model. Of course, you have this massive Toyota badge here in the center. It's about the size of my hand for comparison. Of course, you have LED daytime running lights, fog lights, headlights, and the headlights are auto leveling. Let's move on to the side of the Tundra. First, we're going to start with these 20-inch machined aluminum wheels, which are special to the 1794 edition. Of course, you have the body-colored over-wheel fender. This is going to be on the limited and up, so on the lower trims, this will be the black plastic. As you move back, you're going to have these absolutely massive mirrors. These are power extended, power folded, and heated. Of course, you do have the 1794 special badging down here, as well as some other features unique to the 1794 edition and the top of the line capstone edition, which is this chrome window outline, as well as the chrome door handles. Of course, the last cool feature you have on the side of this vehicle is going to be the power running boards for about $13.50. For the size of this truck, these are an absolutely necessary amenity. Let's move to the back of the Tundra. Of course, you have these big LED taillights, and one thing we noticed about these is they are very similar to those on the Kia Telluride. Of course, you have Tundra stamped in the back here, and below that you'll see the Texas manufacturing plate. This vehicle is much more American now than it is Japanese. This vehicle is born in Texas, and they really want you to know that with some of the Easter eggs we'll show you around the vehicle. Of course, to lower the tailgate, you can use the traditional handle, or over here on the left-hand tail light, there is a button you can press. This will drop the tailgate. One thing to mention is this tailgate has lightweight construction to make it a bit less tedious to lift up. Another thing you might have noticed is when this tailgate dropped, this little foothold will drop. Now, this is marketed as Toyota's gimmick. I want you guys to let us know what you think about that. Of course, a lot of other manufacturers have something a bit more profound in their tailgate, whereas Toyota really just has this little drop-down step. Getting into the bed, on this particular truck, we have the 6.5 foot bed. You can also get a smaller 5.5 foot bed or a larger 8.1 foot bed. Now, this bed is crafted with an aluminum enforced compound, which will make it a bit more dent resistant. Of course, this bed also does have this rubber mat in it, which costs about $195, which is a pretty good deal for some extra protection. Some other amenities you have back here are a 120 volt outlet over here, as well as LED bed lights. And if you've ever seen the bed of the Ford Ranger, you know what these wood holders are for. You can put wood across here for a cut-in or just for some extra supports within the bed. Of course, you have your standard tie downs, as well as your cameras up here. Now, one of these is going to be the camera for the bed view, and the other is going to be the camera for your rear view mirror. Some other things to mention back here are these tie downs, which can slide across a bar here so you can change how large your area tied down is. And of course, the coolest thing about Toyota trucks, this rear window can drop all the way down. We're gonna have this drop now so you can see how it looks when this drops. As you can see, whole thing drops down, so if you really wanted to, there is nothing stopping you from crawling through this window. But of course, I do not want to get these beautiful leather seats dirty. Jake is urging me to do it. I am going to fight the primal urge to crawl through this space. As graceful as I could have been. If you're liking this video and want to see more weekly automotive content, be sure to like and subscribe for more weekly automotive content. Now let's talk about some of the ride comfort amenities here in the Tundra. Let's start with the adaptive variable suspension system. What this is going to do is utilize a linear solenoid system, which is going to adjust your ride based on the road surface. So if you're going over a bumpier road, it's going to make sure you aren't really feeling that horribly. Another feature to help with that is the hydraulic mounted cab, which you're going to have on the limited trim and up, which is definitely going to improve the comfort of your ride. Now let's talk about some of the rear suspension amenities. They used to have the leaf suspension in the older Tundras, but now they have the multi-link suspension system. With the air suspension, you're going to have 3 different modes: low, normal, and high. High is going to be for your more low-speed off-roading type stuff. So once you go over 18 miles per hour, it's going to switch you back to the normal mode. And for low, that's when you're trying to load some heavier stuff into the bed and need the truck a bit lower. So that's going to automatically switch back to the normal at around 8 miles per hour. Now let's look under the hood of the Tundra. And the standard engine is going to be the 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 engine. This engine is going to produce about 389 horsepower with about 479 pound-feet of torque. The other engine option is going to be the hybrid iForce Max engine. That's going to get about 437 horsepower with about 583 pound-feet of torque. Of course, both of those are going to have a 10-speed automatic transmission. And one thing we found interesting is that it really doesn't change your towing capacity that much with how this truck is laid out. It was about maybe a 50-pound difference on your maximum tow capacity, putting you just under 11,000 for this truck. Now, depending on how you spec out your Tundra, you can get just under 12,000 for your towing capacity. That's a little over a 17% increase from the max of the previous Tundra. And with that, your max payload's about 1,940 pounds, which is about 11% increase from the previous Tundra's maximum payload. Now you might be wondering, if the hybrid doesn't really help you with towing, then why get the hybrid engine? Well, the big answer to that is going to be the fuel economy. About 22 miles per gallon is nothing to slouch at with a truck of this size. That'll definitely help you in the city, but of course you're definitely not taking a truck this wide in the city. With mirrors that size, you will be scraping against every car parked on the side of the road.
And now let's talk about the interior of the 2022 Toyota Tundra. This is a really impressive interior. Toyota went for a technical muscle design, and when I read that in the press materials, I had no idea what they meant, but now I get it. There's definitely a great combination of elegance, but also strength in this interior. Let's take a closer look. First of all, you have a horizontal dashboard layout. Most trucks go for a very vertical layout. Toyota laid this out much more horizontally. That gives just a better feel, more open feel to the vehicle. You're a lot more spread out rather than being just right here. And we'll take a little look at your center stack and screens in just a second. But when it comes to the actual design of the interior, the materials are a really mixed bag. The leathers in here feel great. Everything else, not so much. You can hear some of these plastics sound really cheap. I'm not sure if you can hear this, but it just does not sound good. You have hard touch up here. The wood is fake plastic right here. So those materials that are not leather don't feel the best. However, the leather, we have this beautiful white leather. It has brown contrast stitching in it, kind of this light golden brown contrast stitching. It all looks fantastic when it comes together, as long as you aren't touching up here, which I don't think you'll do too often. I also just want to tell you about the seats real quick. These are some of my favorite seats I've been in a while. They have lots of padding. They're heated, they're ventilated, 10-way power adjustable. You even have ventilated seats in the rear, which is a great feature. Overall, really positive first impressions of this interior. Some chintzy plastics around here, but definitely not the worst offender when it comes to pickup truck plastics. Now, let's talk infotainment. This vehicle has a 14-inch 12-speaker sound system. That's a JBL sound system. This whole system is going to be standard on the 1794 edition. It does have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay wirelessly for those people who like the wireless touch. There's also a wireless charger in this vehicle. I really appreciate how it lets you know when something is charging wirelessly. The vehicle will let you know you have it aligned properly via this Qi symbol in the top corner. Now, looking around this system, it's pretty bare bones. I think they're expecting you to mostly use your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. The system is 5 times faster in the previous generation. And just to show you, you can see how fast I can scroll here. It looks great. Very high resolution, very sharp text. Now, one disappointment I have with the screen is one of my favorite features on the older Toyota screens is you could change the theme. So you could come in here, press some buttons, and the theme would become completely different. You can make it look sporty, tough, elegant, whatever you wanted. But I'm not finding that feature here. Maybe I'm missing it, but I'm not seeing it at all. You do have typical phone radio controls. You do have trip information right here, pretty basic stuff, and it will show you vehicle alerts here as well. You do have a map, and this map looks great. You can see I can move around pretty quick, and you can also use voice controls to get around. We will show you that Toyota Assistant in just a sec, but you can see that this looks pretty good, and this screen's gonna make your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay look great. This vehicle does have some pretty impressive cameras. If I shift into reverse, you'll see we do have a guidance system right here. We have a 360 and rear view camera. You have your trailer alignment, and you can go through a series of different views. If we want to look out the front, I find this view really helpful if you're pulling into a garage, especially with that large hood in front of you. Almost called it a frunk. This is not an electric vehicle. You can see your wheels right there if you want to make sure you don't curb your wheels. Really helpful if you are in those city streets, and same with the rear. So this is a really great camera system, very easy to use, and you can even get somewhat of a little drone view if you push the camera button down here. Might have to go to park, and then we will hit the camera button, and you get this little 360 view right here. I prefer the traditional 360 camera that you saw while we were in reverse to this, but this is a neat little gimmick for those who like it. One other thing I want to mention about this drone view is it lets you look through the car so you can see what's right next to your wheels. Now, let's talk about Toyota's voice assistant, and this is where things get weird. Colin and I recorded a clip of this, and sometimes it picks up my voice, sometimes it doesn't. I say, "Hey Toyota" in here, it doesn't pick it up. I said it outside of the truck, back by the tailgate, it picked it up in here somehow. It seems very inconsistent in whether or not it picks up you saying, "Hey Toyota."
What would you like?
But here's where things get even weirder. Lots of voice assistants have that problem. It's no big deal. Here's where things get weirder. I started asking Toyota to do things. I asked it to turn on my heated seat. I asked it to turn up the temperature, and it wasn't able to do those things. And I thought, maybe I'm not phrasing it in the correct way. So I said, "Hey Toyota, what can you do?"
Use the touch control.
Now Toyota brings up a menu showing you what Toyota can do. And one of the things listed here is under climate control.
You can say things like set temperature to 72 degrees.
You heard it there. You can say things like set temperature to 72 degrees. Why don't we try that? "Hey Toyota. Hey Toyota.
What can I do for you?"
Set temperature to 72 degrees.
This feature is not available.
You heard the car say that is exactly what I could ask it to do. And the feature is not available. To show you I'm not a crazy person and it's not my voice, Colin will now do the same thing.
Hey Toyota. Hey Toyota.
What do you want to do?
Set the temperature to 72 degrees.
This feature is not available.
This is very strange. I figured this might be a glitch or something. Maybe you all can let me know. However, we are very confused. Now, look, voice assistants in cars pretty much always suck, but they don't tell you you can do something and then you can't. So that's a little frustrating. And I don't want this to detract at all. This is an amazing truck, and I want to be very clear. This is one of the better infotainment systems I have ever used. This is just one small part of the system. So I want to be very fair to Toyota here and say this is not a big mark against this truck at all. However, I just found it very strange and wanted to share it with you all. So just something to know. All right, let's talk about your center display. This is about 12.5 inches, a little less than that, this digital display right here. There's also a 4-inch display with physical dials you can get, but here we have the nice big digital display. You can see you have a central tachometer there with your speed in the middle, and then below that, it's gonna show your safety systems. It's gonna show what the truck is seeing in terms of road lanes and people ahead of you. On the left, that's where customization comes in. There's not a lot of customization, but you can choose what's shown in this little panel here, whether you want a compass, some music. I would really like to see some more comprehensive off-road menus available here. That would be cool. Of course, you have a lot of Toyota Safety Sense systems. We have Toyota Safety Sense 2.5 on this vehicle. I'm not sure what most people will keep it to. One thing that would be nice is a calm screen. That's something Lincoln has done, where there's just nothing shown in that panel to the left of the tachometer, just to clean up the gauges a little bit. Other than that, pretty nice display. It's really good quality, you know, nice and sharp, deep blacks, bright whites, so overall good job. And now you all join me in the rear, and as with any full-size pickup truck, you have gobs of legroom back here. I'd probably sit around here if I were in the front. For reference, I am 6 feet tall, and I have plenty of legroom back here. Funny enough, the limiting factor here is actually probably gonna be headroom before legroom. I'm 6 feet tall. You can see I have only about an inch of headroom right here left above me. Granted, my hair is way too long right now. I need to get a haircut, but when it comes to actual headspace, there is not much. But let's talk about some of the better things back here. Now, you do have cup holders here with the nubs, which are very useful. You do have heated and cooled outboard seats. Cooled seats in the rear are always a really nice high-end feature. In terms of connectivity back here, USB-C outlet, USB-A outlet, full-size household here. Interestingly enough, we couldn't find really USB-C in the front, but they have it in the back. Very interesting. Benefit of USB-C is faster charging and future-proofing as more devices move to that connection standard. Let's talk about the center right here. When it comes to sitting, you're gonna lose a lot of height right here with your legroom. There is a very large hump, so you have plenty of width to sit 3 people back here, but whoever's in the middle might be a little uncomfortable because of that hump. But you do have a pull-out right here. There's no tab to do the pull-out. That's a little disappointing. So you gotta reach your hand in there and pull. It's not very elegant. In here, you do have nubless cup holders, so that is a nub fail. We never like to see that. But you do have a little phone holder in here to make up for it. Now, let's talk a little bit about the storage options back here. Now, you do have under-seat storage right here. Pulling this up, you can see you have a little bin. Some trucks do it with the bin. I prefer when trucks let you fold up the seat, lock it in place, and have a big flat load floor right here, but the bin is okay. The best truck is the Ram 1500, which lets you have a big flat load floor, which then you can pull up for underfloor storage, little cargo areas, but this is also a very good option. Now, you can pull this right here to drop the back of the seats, and then you can access your subwoofer right here and a little bit of more storage space right there. This vehicle does have that 12-speaker JBL sound system. One other thing I want to tell you all about back here that's a huge plus of this truck is the light. Now, first of all, you have the light interior, which always helps, but you also have this huge panoramic sunroof, which is just gorgeous. And then complementing that is the huge rear window, which drops. The entire window drops, as we saw at the rear. So this is a really nice place to be overall. They did a great job with the rear. Some improvements they could make, maybe a completely flat load floor, though some people probably prefer the bucket type style. Let me know what you prefer in the comments below. And if there was a way to have maybe less of a hump, I feel like other trucks have a bit less of a hump, but I can't confirm that. That's just a hunch I have.
Now, this isn't the TRD Pro trim, but let's talk about some of the TRD features that would help for off-roading. Of course, you're gonna have the 2.5-inch diameter Fox shocks. Those are gonna be painted red to kind of help them stand out from the crowd a bit. You're also gonna have a piggyback reservoir for some additional oil to help with smoothness. Also helping with smoothness, Fox is gonna have their new polytetrafluoroethylene, or PTFE, suspension fluid in here to really smoothen that ride. Some other things you'd find on the TRD Pro would be a front skid plate, as well as some additional underbody scratch protection. Some other features that aren't exclusive to the TRD Pro trim but would help with off-road and off-road cruise control, crawling gears, as well as the all-terrain select to help mitigate some wheel spin.
We got a pretty steep little hill right here we're gonna go up, and this is loose sand, it looks like. I wanna hit these wood. Oh, you can hear there we're having a little bit of slippage, but it's handling just fine. Now we're gonna go down pretty steep little hill right here. Put your hands up, everybody. It's like a fun roller coaster. There we go. Here's some real off-roading. We are on sand there, and that handled it beautifully. I'm really impressed with that. Now let's come around here. Colin, I don't know if you can get the terrain with that camera out there. You can see we're going down some broken up by track marks right here, some loose sand and dirt, and it's handling it pretty beautifully. We're at a pretty aggressive roll and incline right here. Of course, the true off-roaders are gonna tear me apart in the comments for saying that, but for an average person, that's about as intensive off-roading you would get. I think this vehicle just handled it beautifully. What do you think, Colin?
Did a pretty good job.
Excellent. Now out on the streets in the Toyota Tundra, let's do a little merge here, give it some gas, and that motor sounds beautiful. We have that 6-cylinder, 3.5 liter twin turbo engine. This is not the hybrid variant, and it just makes some beautiful noise. Now I'm hearing some wind noise in here. A lot more wind noise than I would expect, frankly, so that is a little disappointing. So that is something to keep in mind. The motor can also be kind of loud. It seems to have quieted down at this highway speed, but when you're at lower speeds, up to about 30, 40 miles an hour, you definitely hear that drone. So that's just something to keep in mind. They probably could have done a better job on reducing that noise, vibration, and harshness. Your mirrors are gigantic in this vehicle, which is great because they give you a huge view of everything behind you, and you do have that blind spot mirror built in. The only downside of that is it's going to severely limit your front corner vision, especially when it comes to things like pedestrians. So it's just something you have to be cognizant of as you're driving this vehicle. Luckily, Toyota has a great suite of safety features to help you out. One of those safety features is in Toyota Safety Sense 2.5, their standard suite of safety features that's going to be available on all Toyota Tundras. Not just available, standard. One of those features is left turn assist. So as you're making a left turn in the vehicle, it's going to be looking for oncoming traffic and pedestrians that you may be missing because of those large mirrors, and it's going to stop you and make sure that you do not collide with them as you're making that left turn. That is a really cool feature. Okay, so to set the cruise control, we hit the set button and it automatically turned on the lane centering and the radar cruise. Right now I have the radar cruise set to 60 and I have the lane centering on. And you can kind of take your hands off. You're not supposed to. Toyota does not advertise this as a hands-free system. That's very important. But, you know, let's be honest, you all are going to be doing this. And it's taking this turn beautifully right now. Let's see how long it takes to yell at me about taking my hands off the wheel. It's probably going to yell at me pretty soon, but you can see the wheels turning on its own. It's taking this gentle curve. Okay, there we go. It's telling me to hold the wheel. So that was about, what, 30 seconds maybe before it got angry at me. So that's a pretty decent amount of time. Typical system when it comes to radar cruise control. You can set your speed and then you set the bars and it will use those. You have up to 3 bars of distance between you and the car in front of you, and the vehicle will go from there. And then you can control your max speed from your steering wheel. Really simple system. What other features does Toyota Safety Sense have? Toyota Safety Sense is going to include those automatic high beams. It's going to include features like lane departure assist. So if you have the lane keep assist on, but you're veering out of your lane, it's going to alert you and correct you by putting you in the center. Of course, we see at radar cruise control, you're going to have forward collision detection, blind spot monitoring, and rear cross traffic alert. There's a really great suite of safety features on this vehicle, and the driver's assistance is working beautifully here. Really, I mean, this is a fairly aggressive curve for a highway we are on right now, and the vehicle is taking it beautifully. I don't feel like it's hugging one side. Some vehicles hug one of the lines. I don't feel that at all. It's keeping a very appropriate distance between us and the vehicle in front. Overall, a very nice job from Toyota here. While we're on the highway, I got the cruise control on. Let's talk about some of the other great features for highway driving here when it comes to technology. First of all, this camera mirror right here. You can have either a traditional mirror or you can flip it and you can have a camera looking out the back. We saw it in the bed and it's going to stream right here. What's that useful for? If you have something large in your bed blocking your view, then that's not going to be a problem anymore. If it's blocking the rear window, as long as you're not blocking a camera, you're good. Another fantastic feature, part of that advanced package that we have on this vehicle, that's going to be the 10-inch heads-up display. It's color, it's huge, it's gorgeous, it's sharp. I can't say enough positives about it. It shows exactly what I want. It shows my radar cruise control, my lane keep assist, and what the car is seeing. It shows my speed, and it also shows the speed limit here. That road sign recognition is going to be part of that Toyota Safety Sense 2.5. That is just a great kind of way to see easily what's going on, because sometimes it does get a little busy down here in the dash with that large 12.3-inch display. But having it up there just makes it so easy and so clean. Now we're driving along here in a bit more of a low speed situation, and the truck here, it drives really nicely for what it is. You gotta remember, this vehicle is really, really large, but I have no problem keeping it in the lane. And even if you do find this a challenging vehicle to drive, It's gonna have all the technology features to help keep you centered and help keep everything running smoothly. For reference, I normally am driving roughly a 2016 Jeep Cherokee, so this is a lot bigger than that, but I've been able to adjust pretty quickly to this vehicle. Toyota's done a great job with it. The steering is pretty loose. It's a truck, you know, it's not a sports car, it's pretty light. I can move it with one finger. I personally prefer a bit of heavier steering, but that is personal preference. A lot of people are gonna really like the steering like this. You do have those adjustable drive modes. I mentioned the tow haul mode. You can turn this dial right here and you can go into, you know, sport mode, custom mode, normal, and comfort. You can actually make a custom mode where you can adjust, I believe it's the suspension, the steering, and the powertrain response individually. And you can kind of create your own mode, which is definitely really fun. Now, as I'm coming to this light, you'll see I'll drop below 10 miles an hour and you will see our cameras are gonna come up here. That is a really useful feature for low speed maneuvering. Also, talking about the brakes, as I'm coming to a stop, the brake actuation feels really good. It doesn't feel mushy, which is actually kind of what I was expecting. Just because it was a truck, I was expecting a lot more push maybe in it. It's also gonna drive like a truck. This is a body on frame vehicle, so it's gonna drive a little different than what you're used to. You feel that very high up off the road, a little bit of disconnected from the road feeling that you get with that truck construction. It's not like a Honda Ridgeline. Keep an eye out for that coming soon. Do you want a vehicle with gimmicks, with the latest, craziest technology that's really advanced and makes for the best party tricks? Get an F-150. But do you want a truck that you're gonna own, your kid's gonna be able to own, your grandkid's gonna be own, a truck that will be here probably longer than the sun, frankly, and still manages to maintain a lot of impressive creature comforts, all at a reasonable price point of 66 grand? Get a Tundra. This is a great truck. It's done a lot of really impressive stuff. Sure, it's not as flashy in the way a lot of the other trucks of this size are, and it lacks some of the fun gimmicks they have that make for great party tricks. But you know what? Toyota has done it again. They are reliable as a company. They are reliable vehicles. They have come out, they've come to play, and well, now the ball is in the other automakers' court. We'll see if they can respond with a truck that's gonna last 2 million miles like this one probably will. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and we'll see you in next week's video.